Welcome back. Well, judgment in the case against the former Miss South Africa finalist and the Miss Universe Nigeria 2024, Chidimma Adetshina, has been postponed until February next year.
Have you guys seen what is happening with Chidimma Adetshina in South Africa? Because honestly, this story is getting really interesting. If you've never heard about Chidimma before, let me quickly bring you up to speed because there's actually a lot to this story. Chidimma Adetshina is a Nigerian South African beauty queen who became a major topic of conversation in South Africa last year after her participation in the Miss South Africa pageant sparked a huge controversy over her nationality and family background. And if you're wondering how she became Nigerian South African, Chidimma was born in South Africa to a Nigerian father and a South African mother. So she grew up in South Africa. But during this Miss South Africa competition, questions started coming up about her citizenship and whether she was eligible to participate. And guys, the controversy became so intense that Chidimma eventually withdrew from the Miss South Africa competition. Now, you would think that would be the end of the story, right? No. Because after withdrawing from Miss South Africa, Chidimma went on to represent Nigeria at Miss Universe, and guess what? She came second. So Nigerians obviously rallied behind her. A lot of people basically went, okay, South Africa doesn't want you. Come to Nigeria. We have you. But now, months later, Chidimma is back in the headlines in South Africa. And this time, it's not because of beauty pageants. It's because of an immigration and deportation case. And this is where things get really interesting. Chidimma has been dealing with questions surrounding her immigration status in South Africa, and her deportation case is still before the courts. Her latest court appearance has now been postponed until February 2027. And yes, guys, February 2027. And this legal battle is not ending anytime soon. But what really caught people's attention wasn't just the court date, it was what was happening outside the court. People gathered to protest against her, and some protesters were chanting, "Chidimma, go home." Now imagine that. You are going to court to deal with a legal matter, and outside there are people literally protesting and telling you to leave the country. That's a very intense situation.
Former Miss South Africa finalist and Miss Universe Nigeria, Chidimma Adetshina, is continuing her fight to stay in the country. Adetshina appeared in the Cape Town Regional Court today after her arrest for entering the country illegally. Adetshina first made headlines when she was forced to withdraw from the Miss South Africa pageant in 2024. Home Affairs later alleged that her mother had committed identity theft to gain South African citizenship. Adetshina was declared a banned person, but she entered the country through the Lebombo border post, and she was arrested in June after she was traced to the mother city. The beauty queen has now submitted an affidavit to the court outlining the steps that she is taking to legalize her stay in the country. The prosecution is expected to submit a replying affidavit before the case resumes on Monday.
Welcome back. Well, judgment in the case against the former Miss South Africa finalist and the Miss Universe Nigeria 2024, Chidimma Adetshina, has been postponed until February next year. The Cape Town Regional Court was expected to rule on whether she should be detained pending her deportation. Newsroom Africa's Nasipi Summers in Cape Town joins us now. Nasipi, good afternoon to you. What happened in this case? We were expecting a ruling. Why wasn't one handed down?
Well, Stephen, as you mentioned there, the matter postponed to the 23rd of February next year, and that is for both parties, the Home Affairs Department and the legal representative of Chidimma, to update the court regarding the review application that is currently before the Western Cape High Court. If you'll remember, Chidimma has indicated, or rather filed papers last year, or rather last week in July, where she is asking the court in reviewing the application of the minister in denying her South African citizenship that she had applied for. We do know that she was arrested last year, and the magistrate at the Cape Town Regional Court, Khorane, going as far as saying that she is going to be detailing the reason why she has opted to postpone the matter as we do know that today we were anticipating judgment as to Chidimma Adetshina being detained, pending deportation or not. And she indicated the reason why the matter has been postponed to the 27th of February next year is the fact that there's a matter before the Western Cape High Court that could ultimately, or rather the decision of that court could affect the outcomes of lower courts. And as a result of that, she described it as that, both parties have tied her hands essentially, and that it is not the judgment that many had anticipated, and described it as an anticlimax. However, she said that the magistrate court is also governed by South African law, or rather the Magistrates Act. And we had an opportunity to speak to Chidimma Adetshina after the postponement of this particular matter. And with that being said, the magistrate has also indicated that Chidimma should be at the Cape Town Regional Court on the 23rd of February next year at 8:30, and also went as far as saying that the conditions that were given to her following her first court appearance still stand, and that is for her to be reside at a particular residence that she has provided to the courts, and if there is a change in her address, to inform the immigration officer.
You know, this our sister, beauty queen Chidimma. She has a case in court about her stay in South Africa. Yeah, I think today the court was supposed to pass the final judgment, I think, but I'm not sure. But before she could got to the court, many protesters from Operation Dudula and March and others, they were already waiting for her. The moment they saw her, they started chanting her name, telling her to, they don't want her in South Africa and she must leave South Africa. Yeah. Now the question is, my sister, even if you win this case, how are you going to live, or how are you going to cope with these people? In an environment where many people don't actually like you, if I may use that word, or a place where many people don't want you. How are you going to live in such an environment? How? That's the question. This might affect your safety. It might. I know that it's not easy for anybody, to leave a place where they give back to them, according to what I read, on the news, that your father is from Nigeria and your mother from Mozambique, a Mozambican woman, your mother. They gave back to you in South Africa, in Soweto, right there in South Africa, about 25 years ago. I know everything about you in South Africa. You were raised there. Your friends, your siblings, your mother, your father, they are still there in South Africa. I know it's very difficult for somebody like you to just leave such an environment and go away, move to a new environment. It's difficult. But how are you going to cope with these people? That's the question. And also read that her father has permanent residency in South Africa. He has been there. He built his life in South Africa, has been there for so many years, in so many countries. I don't know how it works in South Africa anyway, but in so many countries, if immigrants give birth to a child, give birth to their children, their documents automatically passed to the children. Yeah, they will all have the same document in some countries. While some of them, they will give them citizenship direct. But in South Africa, I don't know how it works. I don't know. So my sister, that's the question, man. You think about this, man. Even if you win this case, how are you going to cope in this kind of environment? We all know in 2024, You contested for Miss South Africa. I think that's where, all this problem came from. And you got to the final. You were forced to withdraw, based on many people started asking the question about your citizenship. They started asking questions. So because of that, you have to withdraw. Then Nigeria called you, and you represented Nigeria at Miss Universe. Yeah, we all know that. Anyways, we know it's not easy, but you have to think about this, man.
Good job, Chidimma! Good job! Good job! You still rising! Go home! Go home! Go home! Go home! You still rising!
You're not gonna hit anyone! Fuck off! Fuck off!
The stress has got this lady. Oh my God, look at the bags under her eyes. This is Chidimma Adetshina, excuse my pronunciation. She's a South African model who has Nigerian and Mozambican heritage, but she was born in South Africa. Yeah, but when they found out she has heritage from other countries, oh my God, they didn't want nothing to do with her. Imagine the place you were born, they don't see you as one of them because your parents come from a different border. It's absolutely nuts. But you know what I say? Just leave South Africa be, yeah? If they don't welcome you, just go. Like me, when I'm not welcome, I just leave straight away. Yeah, if I'm not getting the vibes that I'm welcome here, I'm out. But I understand it's not that simple for her. That's her home, technically, but you're not welcome there, yeah? It's the same with other brothers and sisters from the continent. Just leave South Africa, man. Leave them be, yeah? Give them their space, leave them be. Eventually, something will click, yeah? It may take a few months, it may take a decade, it may take a century, it may take 2 centuries, but just leave them South Africans alone, yeah? When it comes to dealing with South Africans now, just be formal. That's it. There's no friendship, there's no brotherly. Just leave them. That's all I can say. I feel bad for her. Imagine going through this just because your parents are from different borders that were created by Europeans, yeah? Speaking of Europeans, the March on March people are linking up with the, what they call Afri Forum. What's going on here?
Firstly, I would like to say that I'm grateful that I once again have been able to get an opportunity to have my faith in our courts. And I remind everyone that I was born in South Africa. I have applied through the proper legal channels to have my status and citizenship determined. I believe that I have been treated unfairly and targeted, and there has been an attempt to make me as an example. But my message is not going to be one out of anger. South Africa is governed by the rule of law, and we should not allow xenophobia and misinformation to determine how people are going to be treated. We should all be guided by the spirit of Ubuntu. Throughout this ordeal, I have availed myself of all appropriate legal recourse, and I'll continue to respect and abide by each process. Finally, I would like to thank my family, friends, supporters, and my legal representatives for their unwavering support and commitment to my case. Thank you.
Now, this conversation goes beyond Chidimma herself. We're now talking about immigration, about foreigners living in South Africa, we're talking about xenophobia, and we're talking about where the line is between enforcing immigration laws and hostility towards foreigners. Now, I want to make something very clear. South Africa, just like every other country, has the right to enforce its immigration laws. That's not really the controversial part. The bigger question is, what's the atmosphere surrounding this immigration debate? Because South Africa has had a very complicated relationship with immigration for years. There have been concerns about undocumented migrants, jobs, crimes, businesses. But at the same time, migrant communities have repeatedly complained about being blamed for problems in the country and being targeted because they are foreigners. So when you now see people standing outside a court chanting "Go home" at a Nigerian woman whose case is already before the courts, of course people are going to have opinions. And because Chidimma is Nigerian, you already know Nigerians are watching this very closely. Because whenever Nigeria and South Africa enter the same conversation, the internet is about to have a field day. So now another big question is, what happens next? Her case has been pushed to February 2027, so we still don't have a final answer on what will happen to her immigration status. And between now and then, there could be more protests and definitely more conversations online. Personally, what I find fascinating about this story is how much Chidimma's journey has changed. She went from being a contestant in Miss South Africa to withdrawing from the competition to representing Nigerian at Miss Universe to becoming one of the most talked about African beauty queens. And now she's at the center of immigration controversy in South Africa. And guys, I really want to hear what you think about this one. Do you think this is simply South Africa enforcing its immigration laws? Or do you think the protests and the go home chants show that this has become something bigger? Because those are two completely different conversations. So tell me what you think. Would you be comfortable with the government enforcing immigration laws in a situation like this? And what do you make of people protesting outside the court and telling Chidimma to go home? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because honestly, I feel like this story is only getting started. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in my next one.